Hello everybody, this is Alyssa from Make Arts and Crafts, and today we are here for another installment on my hoard in my collection of all the things. This is probably the smallest collection you will see from me. This right here is my tray collection, and I don't have a ton of trays, and there's a reason for that. I actually just destashed a whole bunch of trays that I wasn't using, didn't like the size of, didn't like the feel of, all of that. So this is what I have left from that collection. So first off, we can go over, I will show you, I have them in this way so you can see how I store them. This tray holder holds these trays. This little shelf thing sits on my bookshelf in front of some of the books and holds these trays, all the others. And then these are the trays that have been on my desk because these are the ones that I have been using for pretty much everything. And these are my travel trays. So I usually have one in each of my to-go travel containers, one in my little bag that I have, which is the purple one, and then this goes in my like little fabric book cover thing that I showed you guys that had a bunch of accessories in it during the retreat haul video. So we're gonna take a look and see what all of the trays are that I have and go from there. So first up, I'll start with these ones since they're right in front of us. So these three trays are all from Yellow Dog Designs. They're a Canadian shop. And you can see they have the name on the back. It says Yellow Dog Designs. And then it'll say what size tray it is, which I always like when shops do that so you know to buy again. So this is the small version 1. I love the small, but I also am absolutely in love with this narrow, and this is version 2 for the narrow. And then you have this, which is like their regular size tray right here, which is the only one that this is probably the biggest tray out of all the trays that I have. And this one is from their Chinese New Year for the Asian DP along. I had to snag this. Then this is version 5, Yellow Dog Designs, and this is for Year of the Snake. But what's really cool is all of these trays, they come with like a separate little attachment piece that you can put right in here. I got these two, I ordered the specific color, and I got them with the white background because it really helps those drills to really light up. And then it has the little shelf. So you can see these are the two that I use the most. And a lot of times they sit like that on my desk because these are the ones that I've actually been in love with lately, have been these ones. This for more confetti areas or small kits, and this for just like regular areas or more confetti, that type, or more color blocking, that type of thing. And it's got that little shelf, which I'm ambivalent about the shelf because when I shake my drills, I don't shake them to the back. I shake them to this left corner side area here. So the shelf doesn't really do anything for me, doesn't add anything for me because of how I work. There is another attachment nozzle thing that these came with. It's somewhere around here. I think the cat stole it. But it sits in and it has little wings that wing out to the sides. So whereas this one is one that you just pull straight out. But it has an up-down arrow so you know which side to do it. But these two trays I'm absolutely loving. And I love the color of them, especially this color right here. So I will definitely buy from Yellow Dog Designs again. Probably more of the narrow trays because I'm liking the depth for it, especially when I'm working on full-size canvases. But I'm loving this because it's really comfortable to hold in my hand. So I do all of my diamond painting, unless I'm working on the desk, like on a cross stitch conversion or a paint gem. That's the only time my tray sits on the table. The rest of the time the tray is in my hand. So some of the trays that I have, I can't hold for very long, and I only use them if I'm doing a large area of color blocking for some of these larger trays that you'll see in here, and I'll talk about those. This one I've been using for the 310 on my cross stitch conversion project. And that's because, I don't know if you guys can see the edge of the project there, yep, underneath my table here. But that's because this one has that nice big grid. It's really big, so it covers more space than the narrow right here. So when I'm, color blocking thousands and thousands of 310 drills, I mean, this is the bag I've been working off of. It's not full anymore. I have 2 more sandwich bags that are 100% full to the brim of 310. So that's a lot of 310 drills to be doing for my cross stitch conversion. But I've been using this tray for that because I can sit it on the table, and then I can be like working with like a 10 to 12 placer. I think it's been mostly a 10. This is a 6 placer, but I can be like working chung, 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 next row and just work my way down on all of those. But that is the trays from Yellow Dog Designs. Like, I only have 3 of them, but I am in love with them, especially these ones, especially this one. I think this one absolutely is my favorite. I like this one, but I feel like it's just slightly too small, and I would be happy if it was just like a little bit bigger, but not much. Just because the grid or that little shelf in the back does take up some some space that you could be using for drills. But anyways, so those are my Yellow Dog Designs trays. My current favorite are like these two, like I said, and I just love the design on this one for the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year. So I was like, I had to get it even though it was big, but it's come in really handy for the 310. So we're gonna set the Yellow Dog trays off to the side, and we're gonna go over my, we'll do my Bella Art de Nicole trays. So I had more Bella Art de Nicole trays, but I ended up pulling out all of like the medium or the large ones, and then the three placer ones, and then the ones that I had like multiple colors of, because some of them initially when I was starting out, I got like the two minis and a I got like 2 minis and a large, and I don't use the large, and I was like, do I really need 2 of each color? So I ended up destashing a bunch of them. So this is the color palette that I have. As you can see, I have a tendency towards a certain colorway. They're all very, very similar family-wise. And I just love the color palette that I've acquired and collected. I do have like this one here. I do have in 2 of this one, but I just love that color so much. I was like, nope, gotta have it. Same thing with this one. I have 2 of this color, but again, it was one of those where I'm like, I just love that color. So I'm gonna have 2 of it because I bought it as a 2-pack and I'm keeping the 2-pack of it. So the trays that I have, I do have the inside of my trays are all it's like I think it's what the 3.1 is what they're called, and I love these. I actually, when I'm working with them, I shake them like this because they're the perfect hold to kind of shake like this, get the drills off to the side. They sit like that, and and then I hold it like this, and I don't even bother putting the stopper in unless I've got like a ton of drills. But that's one of the nice things about the little slanted spout. It slants up, so I don't have to worry about the drills falling out. But I have this one and this one. I had a bunch more of the ones that they have with like the decorative tops, but I ended up, I was like, you know what, I'm not a big fan of some of those ones like with the color and everything else, so I kept these 2 because I do just love the color of these. This one being a green one, I do love green, so I had to have this one, and I thought the rainbow was fun. And then this one right here with the butterfly on it, you can't go wrong with a nice white tray. It's a nice accent for a lot of different colored drills. So I have those 2. And then over here, let me pull out these ones. I did have like 2 of this gray one, but I'm like, I don't really need 2 gray trays. So I ended up destashing that. But these 4 are all of and all of my trays are going to be absolutely identical. This is the only style I like, is the 3.1 with the spout and just the regular grid in there. I love the size of these trays. I do find that they can be a little bit thin in some ways. So like I've never had an issue because I don't squeeze super hard, but you can squeeze the walls and you could potentially crack it because they are a little bit thinner. And on these ones, the little the butterfly logo doesn't really bother me at all. But then I have like a little gnat thing buzzing around. But then on like this one, with the way everything's printed here, the butterfly looks fine. But then when you look at the accent of this butterfly in color compared to the white background, I do wish they would have left it in the same color as the rest of the tray, like the trays like you see on these, where it's the same color. Because to me, it just looks like a blob like this, and you can't even make out the fact that it's a butterfly with a B, the letter B in front of it. That was not something that I actually literally just realized right now, that it's a butterfly with a B on it. But you look at this and you can't tell because I really don't like that color accent that you see right here. I would rather they would have left this white and this black. That to me would have been better. So those are my 2 like limited edition special type ones. These ones are all of like a cookies and cream type filament. So you can see I have them all in, I have these 4, the lovely colors of these 4 for the cookies and cream filament. And then as you can see, I've got, let me pull out, I think these are the only 2 I think I have in this like almost this glittery clearish type color pattern or colorway. I'm not as big of a fan of that, like that glittery clear silky whatever, or not silky, but whatever you call this filament. I'm not as big a fan of that, so I only have 2 of those. And then I have, let me pull out, kind of going over the different styles or different ones that I have. So these ones are all of the color shift ones that I have. So I have 2 of this particular pattern right here. These 2 are the same, but they look slightly different when you look at them because they're that rainbow filament. And I do love that shift where they have a little bit of that subtle creamy, yellowy type green in them, as well as the, then like the teal aqua color. So I have these two, and then this one was one of the first ones that I got. So it's kind of, you look at it one way, it's green. You look at that way, it's a darker green. You look at it on the bottom, and it's kind of purple, and that side it's got purple. So it's like, depending on what side you look, changes colors. And you know, the inside is a different kind of shimmery color, but that's a color changing one. And this one was also one that had like a color change filament, but in, or like that variegated, you could see how some of it is this color, and then the lid is like that purpley bluish type tone. So those are all of that style. And then the other four, I've got two, well, I've got these two, which are an actual silk. They're actually the same exact color. I got these as a set with a large tray that I've since destashed. So these are a silky color. As you can see, they've got that really shiny, smooth coating. And then this is more of that matte finish. And I actually prefer the matte finish of the trays over the silky filament and over that filament. So I like these ones, and then these two are the ones that I use more frequently. You can tell by the degree of putty built up in the back and tray drills that are stuck to said putty. But that's a sign that I need to clean my trays and have not done so. So this is my Bella Art Deco tray collection, as you can see. So now I can, I'm gonna leave these kind of sitting right here. And then and this is one of the Bella Art Deco like little whatever things. So I don't buy as much from Bella Art Deco as I used to, and that's mostly because they're like, the owner had made some kind of comments that didn't sit well with me, so I've been not purchasing from them as much as I had in the past. But I'm happy with my collection. As you can see, trays are like the one thing that I have not gone to town on and bought like all the things of. I've tried to keep my tray collection to what I actually will use, and if I get something and I don't like it, then I destash it. So these are, let me pull out this one. I need to fix this one. Mochi, you're making a mess. You're knocking all the things over. Come on, girl. And we're gonna go with this one, I think, and then this one right here. So these will be the trays that I actually have. So we'll take a look at from Fireflies. These are my Firefly trays that I have. I think they're just, this is all that makes up. We're gonna move that out of the way because we're gonna need the room. So these are the Firefly trays. I have, I think, 3 or 4 different, I think I have like 4 different styles of tray from Firefly. I'm going to arrange them in like smallest to largest. So we'll go over these 3. So these 3 are their Ignite Mini, which I like how it's comfortable in the hand, but the Ignite Mini, I found it feels a little small. So this would be something I use mostly for confetti, because as you can see, this is kind of like what I go off of, and you can see how it's definitely narrower, and that little bit of narrowing actually, surprisingly enough, makes a big difference to me. And I also, to me, it's just annoying having to pull the stopper and pour the drills. That to me gets annoying. So I don't go for these very frequently. As you can see, this one right here is the same pattern and the same filament as that one right there. Obviously, I like that filament. And then I have a silky one, and then a bluish to whitish one. And I've basically been just storing these in the tower there. They are stackable, not these ones, but there is one of them that I have that is considered stackable, I think. Well, they might be stackable if I take the lid off. No, not these ones. There's a couple that I have that are stackable. But these ones are just standard. That's the mini, the Ignite Mini. And then we're gonna go over, we'll put those like that so you can see them. And then the next size up that I have from Firefly is their Flint. So the Flint tray is the stackable tray, which I actually really don't like the stackableness of it. So we have these 2 in this color here, and you can see, which are the same pattern, and then this one with a designed lid, which I do really like that lid. But what I don't like about the stackable ones is this extra little lip right here, which is made so that you can stack them and slide them on each other like this, which is great if you're storing them and you've got them like labeled with if you kit up in trays and you have them labeled with what it is, because then you could, you're good and secure and you store them like that. But for me, because I hold my tray, like I love the size of this in here, and I think this tray would be absolutely perfect, except for this little lip is very uncomfortable because it's this sharp angle and it cuts into your hand if you're holding it. Cuts in, like, if you see, if I go like that, see how I've got a line right there? which it gets very uncomfortable when you're holding the trays for a longer period. So I don't use those ones, these Flint trays as much. I do really like the size. I just wish that I honestly wish they didn't have the stackable feature to them. I know that's part of the allure of it, but I love that size. This is the Inferno Mini. So I have because these ones are the Ignite Mini. Okay, and then this is the Inferno Mini. So this one was given to me, this blue one, and these are the ones that have the removable tray right here. And I haven't actually used these two yet because I just got both of these at the retreat. So there's the Inferno Mini right there. And then here is another Inferno Mini. This was in our swag bag from the retreat. I do really love the colors on this one. I love that like rainbow stacked shift that you're seeing right there. So this is one that I do really like the color of. The lid is kind of a funky color. I'm not a big orange person. And I actually broke it because I didn't bother like packing my stuff. So I need to super glue the lid back so it's stable and good to go and doesn't break any further. But this is the Inferno Mini. I do love that color. It's slightly wider than that one, but it doesn't have the lip to cut into the hand. So this one would be a little more comfortable to hold for that large color blocking. And then next up, we have my two larger ones, and these are the Inferno Nano. Well, here's an Ignite and here's a Nano. And you'll see what they are in a minute. So this one is from, this one basically, I got this, I think they gave this to me as a freebie when I did my first order from them. I don't know because I don't remember ordering it. So this one is the Ignite, and you can see it's a much larger tray. I do not use these usually because they're so big, but it's a nice tray. I like the color contrast there. It's just a big tray for me, so I really haven't used it. And then this one was the freebie tray that they provided us in our swag bag last year. This one is an Inferno Nano. So it's basically the same as the Ignite, except for it has the removable trash drill, whatever you want to call that. And then of course you have those pen stoppers. And I like the fact that it has like the little mermaid on it. That's pretty cool. I do really like the color of this one, which is why I've kept these ones, because I think they look cool, even though I don't really use them. I could use them like working on big projects on the table, but I haven't done that. So these are a couple that I have like one-offs of for these ones. So this is a Muni Made tray. I decided to keep one Muni Made tray, which I kept in this lovely color because I love this color. But that's the Muni Made tray. I find, again, this is way too wide for me to hold on to. Now I really wish Em would make a tray that's like maybe stops right there. If she had a tray that stopped to like that width, a little bit smaller like that, that would be absolutely perfect, rather than this really wide tray for like people like me that hold the trays in our hand. I do have to say the Muni Made trays are extremely solid. You can like, there's very little give to them. They're very solid and very well built, but that is a Muni Made tray. And then another ones that I have one-offs of, this one was another one that was in our swag bag from the Crafters Paradise Retreat 2025. This is from Creations Morin. Our theme was Tropic Like It's Hot. I did use this one, and it has the little shelf in the back here. I was using it with the Trashy 310 from a Paint Gem set, so kind of like not the best test of how it works. I didn't really see any complaints to it. It's a little bit narrower than a Muni Made tray, but still too wide for me to comfortably hold, so it would be a table only tray for me. And you can see here we have the stopper, which actually is an interesting way of doing it, but actually works well for the stopper. So that is the one-off that I have from Creations Morin. And then this one, I'm trying to remember, I got this as a as like a prize that I won, part of like a set of other stuff during the Night Court November. Okay, so it's from Flava, or Flava, however I usually see the W like that and I think of it as a V. This is from Flava Designs, or Flava Designs. And I love the fact that they've got this like resin glittery stuff in here and a nice big stopper there. Again, this is a massive tray, so it's one that would sit on the table. It also came with a pen and a like pen tray, like a little dish that you could put all of the pens and everything in. I have not actually used that tray because it's so big. But it'll have its uses. So here are these three trays. And then we have these ones here, which I really, really love. So these trays are from, as you can see on the bottom, this is from Ephemera 3D. I love these trays. They're fantastic. So you can see here we have the snake. I can actually hold these ones, and I love how the edge on the bottom is kind of rounded, so you don't have to worry about it biting into you. So with this, though, the one thing that I do find tedious is having to go back and forth between the spout, which you see right here, and the actual stopper. So usually I've gotten to the point where I don't even bother putting the spout in because I work out of the Elizabeth Ward containers, and I just use this stopper, and then I take the stopper out and pour things back into my container, and I've gotten where I can do that without spilling. But otherwise I would definitely have to use the stopper. But having parts that you have to change around does get tedious, so I do wish that it had like a spout built in. And I love the way they designed it for me with this back and forth. So these were the trays that they made as sponsors for my Lunar New Year event this year. We had the snake tray, and then we have this one, which is the wood snake right through there. So that's the other, the ones that we have red and green. And then I do also have these ones from their Christmas collection, which I got because I didn't really have any good like white trays. I do find the red a little distracting on the base of that one, but I absolutely love this one, and I use this one quite a bit. You can always, like I said, you can always tell how much I've used a tray by how much like putty and extra drills are stuck in the back of it. But I do really like this one. I love the soothingness of that contrast between the white and like the teal aqua color. As you can tell, I'm a fan of those colors. So I do like these trays. I've got, as you can see, I've got 4 of them. So I like them. I just find it, again, tedious to have to move the spout around if I need to do that. And then my last few trays that I have, these ones are from Bijou Bliss. So I have these 2 from the event. This was from the Jeremiah Kettner DP Along. I think it is the cutest little thing ever. This is kind of another one of those trays that I don't use very often because it's so big. I do use it, but it's just a very big tray. And I love their use of magnets, and they magnet together really well. And then they have magnets holding the stopper in as well. And then I got one of the ones that they did for the seasons of the Dragon Seasons painting from Enabler's Outpost. They did a different color tray for each season. I really liked this color, so I got this one. And it looks like I need to glue my little magnet in place on that corner. But I loved it. I love the color. I love the design on it. And I like that they kind of like magnet together. So you can see, boom, right there. They kind of stick together. But I find these ones to be a little bit too big. My preferred size from them are these ones right here, which I think are their small or their mini trays. So I have 3 of them. I have just this standard one right here with a diamond on top. I have this one, which was from that they did for the peach in 2024, was the Pantone. This is kind of like the Pantone or the color of the year. So they did this for like the Lunar New Year last year. And I love the size of the grid in here. To me is fantastic. It's excellent. I think on their newer trays, they've actually started covering this with another layer. I think they've started covering it with another layer of stuff so that the magnets stay in place and they don't pop out. I think, I'm not positive. And then I love this one. As you can see, I now have 3 trays in this exact same filament, this like tealish aqua minty cookies and cream filament. I had to have this one from Nautical November, even though I didn't participate in Nautical November. I had to buy the tray because obviously I'm in the Navy and that has an anchor on it, so I had to buy that one. So those are my 3 trays that I have from, the mini ones that I have from Bijou Bliss. And that is the extent of my tray collection. As you can see, not a ton of trays. I've kept it relatively minimal, and I'm glad that I've kept it minimal, and I want to continue to try to keep this collection minimal so it doesn't become like overly massive and overly large. So that is it. That is my entire tray hoard for you guys. Small, easy, to the point. It's the smallest collection of anything you'll see that I have. Because it's like, I find what I like and I use what I like, and I'm like, well, I don't really see a reason to buy more of it. I may at some point get rid of these ones and like those really little ones from Firefly that I don't utilize, but we'll see. Because the ones I'm really reaching for the most right now are these ones. The yellow dog ones have been my absolute current favorite, and like these small Bijou Blisses. Those are the ones that I tend to use the most. Well, that's all I have for you guys for my tray hoard. So I'm going to go ahead and call that it, and I will see you guys in the next video. My next hoard video will actually be my pens, so you'll get to see all the pens. I just have to film that one. But that's all I have for you guys for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.